Okay, I want to thank everyone for joining us this morning. Huge announcement here for Towson University, and without further ado, I want to bring up our athletics director, Steve Eigenbrot.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you all for being here today. It's a very exciting day as we welcome to Towson our fifth head football coach. And to ruin the surprise, Pete Shinnick. I am excited to introduce him here shortly, but I want to start off with a few remarks and by thanking some folks that deserve to be mentioned. First of all, I want to say thanks to Coach Lyndon Johnson and our current staff for their professionalism during this very challenging time of transition. They've worked tirelessly to put our student athletes first, and I'm very grateful to them. I'd also like to thank our president, Kim Schatzel, for many things really, but especially her understanding of the hiring process. She gave us the latitude to handle this very important search the right way. We moved quickly and quietly, and were able to land the right person. Thank you, Dr. Kim. On that note, also a very special thanks to our search firm, Collegiate Sports Associates, particularly Drew Turner and Craig Littlepage. Thank you for your sage wisdom, calming presence, and constant availability. You made all the difference in the world. Speaking of availability, I'd like to thank some special colleagues, Matt Reinhardt, Nate Barker, and Jen Stano, who answered calls on weekends and long after midnight to help get this done. Also, a big special thanks to Nathan Wilder, Mike Gaffigan, and Lauren Hoskins for the special role you each played in this. I'm very appreciative. Lastly, I need to thank my wife. We closed on a house right around Thanksgiving, and she's got to be thinking that I don't like it because I've only slept there twice. So Aaron, I love you, and I love the house, and here's to hoping you haven't changed the locks a week ago. I could go on and on with the thank yous, but this really was a group effort. In the weeks since we made the change, we met with over 75 alums on phone calls and Zooms. And those calls were set up by some great alumni volunteers that I'd like to thank. Folks like P.D. Moore, Theron Richards, Dramon Bushrod, Jordan Dangerfield, Dan Crowley, and Jim Sandusky. The list goes on and on, but a special thanks to each of them and all the other alums that for their help and assistance. We heard time and time again from candidates during this process that this is a great job thanks to the support that exists for football here at Towson. So I need to thank some of our great donors, folks like Fran Soisman, John Yingling, Jay Wasserman, the Bielskis, and Ross Capuzzo. Let's give a round of applause for those folks. When we started the search, we were open-minded. We were not set out to find an offensive play caller, a defensive mastermind, a proven head coach, or a relatable up-and-comer, or a hot recruiter. Instead, we focused on four main characteristics: character and fit. We wanted someone that understood this place. Meaningful exposure to college football at the non-FBS level. We simply could not afford to hire a coach that came into Towson that was disappointed we didn't have a waterfall in the locker room. There isn't one, and there probably won't be anytime soon. Sorry, Pete. A history of success, and for Coach Pete, I think that speaks for itself. And lastly, a track record of recruiting and developing players. Ultimately, the Johnnies and Joes, as they say, really do make all the difference. We were able to focus on that list because I'm here to tell you a lot of really talented people wanted this job. And despite the list, despite all the very talented applicants, the most surprising thing about the last few weeks is without a doubt that from the first moment we looked at that stack of resumes, the man we hired is on the very top of that pile. And I believe Pete's actually just hearing that for the first time, quite honestly, but we didn't know each other before this process started. And on account of that, I was always ready for that to change, for somebody else to come in and knock them off. And sure enough, it never did. We took a second pass through the candidate list. Pete was still on top. We did Zoom interviews. We walked away. And to a person, we said, man, that guy was really good. Then I showed up at his house in Florida. I met his lovely wife, Tracy. And it took way more time than I promised. Way more time. I apparently still didn't scare him away. In my defense, I thought it was 45 minutes. But 3.5 hours later, it was almost midnight, and he was kind enough to give me a ride to my hotel. Had he not, we might still be in his living room, and I'm not sure Tracy would have been all right with that. But sure enough, when he dropped me off, I thought to myself, man, this is our guy. And fast forward to today, well, he's not just our guy. He's a Towson Tiger. Now, I haven't been a AD very long, so a wise one once told me this: national championship winning coaches, they don't grow on trees. And they certainly don't lead programs they built from scratch into a national power without the understanding that they're going to go somewhere special. And I think that's a commentary on a lot of things, but in my opinion, it's a tribute to our history and the foundation that's been built here. A program that's competed for championships at nearly every level of college football. It takes a special place to attract someone that's fresh off a Final Four appearance to come do something new. Luckily, Towson is a special place, and we found our special person. In our next coach, you'll find someone that is not only highly skilled in the areas identified before, you'll also find a man with great sense of humility, an amazing colleague, husband, father, and grandfather, a guy that is well respected in the industry and by the communities he's endeared himself to, not to mention a guy with a pretty special tie to the Baltimore community. So with that being said, I'd like to give a warm to you welcome to the 5th head coach in Towson football history, Coach Pete Shinnick.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Well, no, might be a little tight. Tight-fitting jerseys these days. I'm not sure. Steve, thank you. Steve has been the ultimate professional in this entire process, and so it made my decision really very easy to know that he would be the main person that I would be working with in this opportunity. And I really look at this as a tremendous opportunity for me and my wife. I do want to introduce Tracy again. Tracy and I have been married 31 years. We have 4 children. Anna and Rachel are our daughters. Anna is married to Cam. He is a jet pilot in the Navy. And they have given us 2 amazing granddaughters, which in making this decision, I'm moving my wife further away from those granddaughters. So she's all on board for this. My daughter Rachel is a missionary over in Italy. So excited to see her when she comes back. And then my 2 sons, Elijah and Benjamin, are getting ready to graduate from UWF. So that is my family. As Steve mentioned, from this area, born right down the road. Pleasant Plains Drive is where we lived till I was about 4 years old when my dad was with the Baltimore Colts. So this is an extremely special place and opportunity for me. Dr. Schatzel, I just appreciate the opportunity to be here. I know you're leaving, which congratulations on your opportunity in front of you, but you've left this place in a great spot, and really under your leadership is really what I've been looking at the last couple weeks in examining this job and saying, would it be a great fit? And so extremely blessed for this opportunity, but also impressed with what has transpired under your leadership. So I wish you the best moving forward. Nathan's been fantastic through this process, so I want to thank him. And I will say this about the current football staff that has been here. Had the opportunity to sit down with most of them. There's one that I still need to spend some time with, but they have handled themselves as ultimate professionals. And so they have made this transition in the time that I've spent with them, easier. There's going to be some change, and there's going to be some new faces coming in, and there's going to be an opportunity for, different faces in there. But how they've handled that, you should be proud of them, because they've really put this university first in their actions, and they've put the players first in their actions. And so obviously there's some difficult decisions to be made, and won't be able to talk about staff today just because we're in the process of getting some of the guys that I want to get here hired. And so that's going to be a process. Got to go through HR, as all of you know. Hopefully within the next couple days, we'll be able to make some announcements as some of the first hires, which I'm very excited about. And the people that I want around me and the type of person that I want on my staff is someone who is going to put our student-athlete experience at the top of their list. And I've been blessed to work with some great coaches who have done that. We want our football players to be proud of being a part of this university. We want them to represent our university in a first-class manner. We have a program theme that we go by, that we talk about a lot. It's arete. It's the Greek word for excellence. It's excellence of any kind. It's living up to one's fullest potential, and it's moral virtue. So when we have an opportunity to impact and influence an 18 to 23-year-old, we're going to talk to them about those qualities. And are you doing everything up to the best of your ability? And so when we hire this staff and we put this staff together, it's going to be a group of men who embrace that. And so with this, I think this is an amazing opportunity. I have followed this program probably for about 10, 12 years in the success that happened in the early teens, watching the team go to the national championship. And it's always kind of been a job that I've followed. I'm a football fan. I grew up around it. Four of us, there's 5 boys in my family, 4 of us played D1 football. Obviously, my dad played 13 years in the NFL. He coached for about 15. So I follow football. That's my hobby. And I've looked at this job from afar and just felt like, man, if we can get everything in place, I think the success that was had earlier can be continued. I think this is a tremendous challenge, great opportunity for me, and I'm excited to embrace that and involve the donors that the football alum that we've talked to. They've been great, involving them, involving our donors, and involving our fan base to really make this a special place. And the exciting thing is, I think there's a lot of pieces in place to be able to do that. I don't think it's going to be easy, but I do feel like with all of us working together, we got a great opportunity to make this a place that I think everyone, the community, the faculty, the staff, the alumni, this will be a place that they're proud of. We want to see as many of them on Saturday at the game day experience. We want to see them come out and support our student athletes. But we also want them in the arena. We also want them at the other stadiums. So we're going to do everything we can to embrace this community. We're going to do everything we can to get as many people involved as we can, because to me, this is home. Growing up the son of a football coach, people would always ask you, where are you from? And when you lived outside of Chicago, outside of St. Louis, outside of Oakland, in Fayette, Missouri, and Columbia, Missouri, go to college in Colorado, my coaching stop was about 10 to 12 different places. I would always say, well, I was born in Baltimore. And then I would tell them the 15 places that I had lived and traveled across and gone through. It'll be very fun now to say, when people say, where are you from? I was born in Baltimore, and now I'm from Towson. So I'm very excited to be able to call this home again and to be here and to have this opportunity to take this program where I think all of you guys want it to go. Again, we have very high expectations. We are going to try to live up to those expectations through this process. And I'm excited that Steve had the, just saw something in me to give me this opportunity to lead this program. So with that, fired up to be here, really excited to be a part of this community. Would love to answer any questions that anybody has.
Raise your hand, Matt Schlissel.
Yeah, Coach B, you mentioned obviously your connection with Baltimore Colts and your father. But what else drew you to Towson? I'm sure you had other opportunities, FCS.
Well, I have. I've been blessed to talk to a handful of programs over the years, and really was waiting for one that I felt I could align myself with, that really desired and wanted the same things that I did. And again, I was looking for a leader of an athletic department that wanted to see things done the right way and had a vision for his football program to be successful. I don't think just making a change, at the top of a football program is the only thing that needs to take place. And so I think there's got to be a lot of things that work together on that. And I loved what Steve laid out. I loved what his vision for this athletic department was, number one. And then where he felt like this program could get to. The ties locally, obviously that plays into it. But then, this team also, I love how this team finished. Taking over a program that found a way to win 4 games after a very difficult start. I got the opportunity to meet with them when I arrived. When was that? When did I? Yeah, okay. Whatever night I arrived, I got the opportunity to meet. Yeah, exactly. I got an opportunity to meet with them. I've got an opportunity later this afternoon to sit down with each position group. But, I told them they're part of the reason that I'm here because I love their fight and I love their determination as to how they finish the season.
record last season. So how do you kind of think your first season in Towson is going to compare to West Florida?
Well, would love to not have the record I had my first year at UWF. That would be great to start off with. And when you say started from the ground up, I feel like, you know, when they hired me, they gave me a phone and a desk. Okay, so that really is, you know, from scratch. But we had a little time to build it. The exciting thing about this is, I mean, this is going to move fast. And this is going to go quickly. And so, again, I think we have a very good foundation here. And I think we have an opportunity to infuse a little bit of who we are and how we do it by the people we bring in. And so I've got very high expectations as to what our first season can look like. We've been blessed over the course of the time that we've been at UWF. We've been to the Final Four times. We've been in the national championship twice. We've won a national championship. We won 2 conference championships all within the last 5 years. We didn't play COVID season. So with that being said, if you walked into our building there, you wouldn't see where, hey, we want to win, we want to do this. We just talk about playing great football. And so, you know, our standard is we want to play great football. And over the course of the next 9 months before we start the season, we will get a clear idea into our players as to what great football looks like and what that standard looks like. So I'm looking forward to making that happen.
Stan, Charlie.
Congratulations, Pete.
Thank you.
Welcome home. Just curious as to how you see your ability to recruit here at Towson.
Well, I think it's a great university. I think it's an amazing place, and I think within a 2.5-hour radius, there are a lot of young men that if they don't know about this university, they will very soon. Because that is our desire and that's what we want to see. So we will get out and spend as much time as we possibly can to ignite that excitement about what I think the future of this university can be while you're playing football here and going to class here and getting a degree from this university. Having not stepped on this campus in a long time and only seen what's online, this is an extremely impressive campus, and I love what the entrance looks like. I love as you drive around and see different buildings. I love just how this campus is put together, and so I'm really looking forward to getting young men and their families on this campus. And I think recruiting is a multiple process because you're recruiting a lot of people. But I think the opportunity for parents and family and friends to be able to watch their son, their nephew, their brother play here from that radius that we talked about is a huge deal. And again, I want as many people in the stands as we possibly can get. And so the more local players we get, the more opportunity for people to continue to do that. Now, we can't take everybody. I've had a long relationship with high school coaches, and, they've told me who I should take, and they've told me why I should take them. And still, we're going to go through the process. We're going to evaluate. We're trying to get the right fit and the right person here. But I'm fired up to embrace that. We'll have some guys on staff who know the area very well, but I promise you, if a guy's never recruited this area or he has recruited this area, we are going to, make sure that they know who we are and what our program stands for.
Chris Heidel.
Hey, Chris Heidel from Herberton Radio in Baltimore. Welcome home to Baltimore. You spent time in the Big 8, the ACC, and all that stuff throughout your coaching career. Talk about your coaching experience and what do you bring to Towson to bring from your stops?
Yeah, I was blessed to be under great leaders. I played under Bill McCartney, and he was fantastic. Ken Hatfield, I was under him at the University of Arkansas and at Clemson. And so really learning from those guys really set the foundation of probably what, my philosophy, moving forward was going to be. But I'll say this, the biggest influence in my life was my dad. My dad was he was an amazing husband. He was a fantastic father, and he's probably one of the smartest football coaches that I've ever been around. And so he was really the model that I was trying to follow. And so probably the greatest compliment you can get as a son about your father is, man, your dad coached me, or I knew your dad, and man, he was he had an amazing impact on my life. And so that set for me what I wanted to do as a coach. And I wanted to make a positive impact and influence people that I was around, whether it was a player, whether it was an administrator, whether it was a fan. I want to impact them in a positive way. And so my dad set that model. Now, with that, being around those programs and seeing what that looks like, you got a great idea, as to, what can be done and how to do it. And so at Clemson, we had all the resources in the world. Okay, my first job at Azusa Pacific, we had no resources. So in able to combine, how do you make that work and what do you do? And I mean literally no resources. So to make that work, okay, that's where, my growth as a head coach and my growth as someone who's, all right, we're in charge of all this, how do we make it work? That's kind of been then taking from what's applicable to the situation that I've been in.
Matt, Coach, what are your thoughts on the transfer portal and how it's kind of changed college football? And to add to that, I know you can't name names, but anybody possibly following you going forward?
How long is this press conference? Okay. No, I don't want it to be that long. Yeah, transfer portal, it is what it is, and it's there. The NCAA has approved it, so we're going to use that as a resource to recruit. Because it's there and it's part of the process. I remember early on in the NFL when free agency was allowed. People said, "Oh, well, what do you think about free agency?" Some people used it, some people didn't. I think everybody's using the transfer portal now. I think at some point in time there'll be some restrictions on this, and there'll be some guidelines on it. My desire is to, recruit the best high school player that we can get into the program, and then if they go someplace else, let them know that we care about them. And then when people pop up into the portal, we got to find the right fit for this university. We got to find the right fit for this program. And so, every place I've been, and I've been able to start 2 programs from scratch. But even at Azusa Pacific, where I inherited a team, every place I've been, I can tell you all the pluses of the university. I can tell you all the pluses of the town. I can tell you all the pluses of the facilities that we had. But I would say the best thing that we ever had at any of those programs, okay, outside of my coaching staff, were our players, okay? And so we're going to find the right people to represent this university the right way. It's going to take some time mixing and matching as to where we get them. But the portal's alive and well. There's a lot of guys in it. And, we will see who the right fit for our team is.
So you talk about the transfer portal, like recruiting guys from it. There have also been a couple guys from this program that have entered the transfer portal this season. Have you given any thought, like making a pitch to those guys to kind of stay at Towson?
Yeah, made a pitch at the team meeting, and we'll try to get with a couple of them individually also. And so, my pitch is they chose Towson for a reason. I would like them to, give us an opportunity to keep them around and see what this experience could be like under a new coaching staff and with a new opportunity for them as well.
Dan?
Coach, the last question I have for you is on the 30th of December at 12 noon, the University of Maryland will be playing NC State in the Duke's Mayo Bowl. Will you be scouting your first opponent next year?
We will definitely be watching that, but here's what I'll say about a Towson alum, okay? And Coach Loxley gave me a phone call right after this, right after the announcement came out. And I'm looking at my phone, and you've got the ID right there because I don't know the number, and I'm like, is that who I think it is? Because I did not know he was a Towson alum, so bad on my part. And Coach basically for the next 10 minutes just said, hey, I want to see this program achieve great success. Very excited that you're here. Anything that I can do to help you. He goes, Coach, we've got bowl practice if you want to stop by and watch. And I'm sitting there going, I think I saw them on the schedule. And then he goes, Coach, I know we play the first game. He goes, but I don't care. I want my university to be great. And so I think that just speaks volumes of the type of person that he is, but then the pride that he has in this university and where he wants it to go. But, yeah, we'll be scouting that game. So, yeah.
John, you
Coach, we compete in the Colonial Athletic Conference. How would you rate that conference across the country with other conferences?
Yeah, one of the reasons why I took the University of West Florida job is because they competed in the Gulf South Conference. And the Gulf South Conference, I think, was the toughest Division II conference in the country. And so I feel very strongly about the CAA because of the strength of the pact and what takes place. And I think the other part of that is the number of teams that we have the opportunity to get into the playoffs. This league is extremely well respected. I think this league is extremely difficult, and I think the top half of this league gets it and knows what it looks like to be successful at the FCS level. And that was very attractive to me. And we want to be at the top half of that, the majority of the time, the top first, the second, third, wherever that fits. We want to put this team in an opportunity to make the playoffs and then go give us an opportunity to prove who we are on the national level. And I think, I think in the conference you look at the playoffs, and a good friend of mine is, he's now at Stanford, but he was the head coach at Sac State. They're number 2 team in the country. They play Richmond, come across the country, and it's a heck of a ball game. And I think that just speaks volumes for the conference and the type of competition that's in it. Really looking forward to embracing that and then using that as part of us when we recruit, who guys will be playing, where they'll be playing, and the level of competition that they're going up against.
Thanks, everyone. We have some one-on-ones